Hi everybody, Loom here, and today I'm going to be showing you how to make the beautiful Dahlia burst bracelet. And this is a design by @Carolyn_Hamlin on Instagram, and you may have watched my tutorials for some of her other designs. I believe I have done either 5 or 6 others for her, I think 6, and you can check those out on my channel as well. They are all in a playlist called Original Designs by Carolyn Hamlin. And this one is absolutely amazing, and it's actually named after the dahlia flower, which has like a lot of layers of petals, and this has a lot of layers of bands and is just really intricate. So it is a 3-loom design, so I know a lot of people might not have enough looms, especially to make a full wrap. But you can also check out some other tutorials on my channel from her, and she has a lot of 2-loom designs as well. But if you have enough looms, then you can set it up like this. You will need 2 aligned, and then it will go a step down and angle up, a step down and angle up. So you can get your loom set up like that, and we'll get started. So the first step is going to be to place our perimeter. So we'll do 1 band across those 2 pins here. And now we're just going to simply follow along the pins at the bottom, and we'll work our way up the left side. And if you want to do a full wrap, then I recommend doing up the side. I recommend doing about 20 or 21 gaps. That's what I did for this one, and it fits me perfectly. But it depends on your wrist size, and so that's up to you. So you will go all the way to the end of this bar pin, and then you're just going to angle back in and go up. And now we're going to do the same thing on the right side. To the top, and come back into the center. But we won't have a band over that because that'll be our cap band in the end. So that is what it should look like. And now we're going to place zigzags up both sides. So you can grab your next color. I am going to be using my Rainbow Loom Lime Green. So you'll start from this corner here, and you are simply going to zigzag all the way up the left side. And you go all the way until you get to the top. And then you'll do the same thing on the right side. You'll start from this corner and just zigzag all the way up. So because I think this is going to end up being a long tutorial, I am going to go off screen and finish placing my zigzag all the way up, and I'll be right back when that's finished. Okay, so now that we have those zigzags going all the way up our loom, our next step is going to be to place a single up this 3rd pin from the left and the 3rd pin from the right. And the way that that is looped out, it is going to end up being the mango, which my mangoes kind of look weird in this bracelet, but it's going to be the mango, and as you can see on this side, it kind of, I don't know, you can kind of see it on this side too. So whatever color you want for that is what we'll be doing next. And I'm going to be using my Rainbow Loom Opaque Pink. So you'll start on this pin here, and you're just going to do a single chain all the way up. Then go to this pin here and place a single all the way up. Just like so. And now we are going to be placing another zigzag over our first row and over these single chains. I'll be using opaque purple. And that is going to be this teal color in this bracelet. So now you will just start on this pin here, go up to the right, to the left, and you will just continue doing a regular zigzag all the way up. And then on this side, you'll start from this second pin here, go to the left, right, and you can kind of push down your bands as you go if you need to. And you will just continue that all the way up your loom on both sides. And I am going to go off screen and finish that up, and I will be right back. So I now have all of my zigzags placed, and it should come to a point at the end like so. So if yours looks like that, you are ready for the next step, and that is going to be to place singles up both of these center pins. And I will again be using my opaque pink, and that is going to end up being what I use for deep purple here. So we are going to just place our singles all the way up. And then on the other pin, okay, so you should have those two singles, and now we are going to be doing diagonal bands going from these two singles out to the third pins from the left and right. So we are going to place one just like so, and then you're going to place them parallel to the one we just placed all the way up the loom. So this band placement isn't too difficult, but the looping gets kind of tricky, so it'll be important to watch closely, but that's what I love about her designs. They're just so unique. And now we'll do that same thing on the right side. Place those all the way up. But we won't place one to overlap here. Just to let you know. Place these all the way up. Okay, so now the next step is to fill this in, and we do that in kind of a unique way, and we're going to be needing our hook for it. So please pay super close attention to this because it can be a little bit tricky. We are actually going to be taking a band that we want to be the center, which on here, and it kind of blends so you can't really tell, but for these little cat bands in the middle, I used my teal sweets. And so whatever color you want to be in the center like that, you will take it and wrap it around your hook. Oops. So that it makes a cat band, and then you'll grab one side of it and wrap it again. So now you have a triple looped cat band on your hook. And here's the way I like to do it, and there's probably several ways you could do it, but I like to take two bands, which is going to end up being the electric blue that I used here. And I like to put them on my hook and try to keep them even, like don't let them get twisted very much. And then you're going to grab your bands and pull them onto there. Now very carefully adjust your cat band to the center and pull your hook out. And so now what you should be able to do is just kind of grab one side and then grab the two loops on the other side. And whenever you stretch it, it should separate like this. If it doesn't, then you have one band from this loop and one band from that loop. So as long as it separates like this, then you can take one of them and put both of those loops onto your bottom left pin. And then I guess you could put it on this one next to it, but I find it easiest to stretch it across an angle. Like this, because now your loop is kind of open and you can put your hook through easier. And so you'll want to stick your hook through there and grab your band again. You can kind of place on your pin here, hold it there, and grab one side of that band, pull it through the loops, and place it back on there. And now you're going to do the same thing down at this corner. Stick it through that loop, grab the band, and pull it through there. So now you should have 4 bands going through that little triple capped band. So it should look like that. I know it's a little bit tricky, but you get the hang of it pretty quick. And if you're doing a full wrap, that does kind of make it take a little bit of, makes it a little bit time consuming. Let's do this. Put 2 bands, and it's easiest if you do 2 bands because then you can stretch it at an angle so that it's open for you to put your hook through easier. Pull the cap band onto it. Carefully remove your hook. Oops. And now if they're lined up properly, then the 2 on the right you should just be able to grab from the top and bottom. And grab those 2, and then whenever you stretch it, it's open like that. So now put it there and there. And now set a band here and hold it on. Stick your hook through and make sure you go through all 3 loops. Grab that band, pull it through and place it back on. Pull it through and place it back on. So I'm going to go ahead and show you one more time and then I'll finish it off screen. Wrap it once, grab one side again and wrap it again, so there should be 3 loops. Pull 2 bands through. Carefully remove it. Try to get those even so you can grab them properly. Place it across an angle. Set that there and kind of hold it down so it doesn't pop off. And now stick your hook through here and grab that side. Now place it back on. Put another one. Stick your hook through, grab the band, and pull it through. So you're just going to finish that all the way until you get to the very top of your loom. And then we will be able to start our looping processes. So I'm going to finish that off screen and I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back and I have all of my X's placed, finally. And so now we just have to place a cap band and we're ready to loop. So you can flip your loom around and I'll place the cap band this way so you can see it better. So you will just take your perimeter color and just twist a cap band and place it over these last 2 pins. Just like so. And the good thing is that it did take a little while to place these X's, but it was our band placement and looping since it's already looped. So that's a plus. And now we'll be looping out these diagonal bands that we've placed. So you're going to go into this second pin up, and you're going to grab this band, but instead of bringing it back to itself, you're going to bring it down. Just like so. Now go into the next one, grab it, and pull it downward. So it should be going to this pin, but instead it's going to the pin below it. And you're just going to do that all the way up your loom. And now do the same thing on the right side. So go into this cap band, pull it back, grab that top band and pull it backwards. Okay. And now this next step is where it gets a little bit tricky, so as long as you pay close attention, you should be okay. But we are going to start looping up these single bands, but instead of looping them straight to themselves, we're looping them off at an angle. So go to that cap band, that bottom band, or those other X bands, and grab the one that would go forward. But instead of pulling it forward, we are going to do a long stretch and pull it up to the second pin on the third pin bar from the left. Now go back in and grab the next one in the second pin and pull it at a long stretch up to the third pin on the bar pin beside it. So it's a little bit hard to explain, but just watch closely and it should make sense, hopefully. Because this bracelet does have some of the most creative looping I think I've ever seen in a bracelet, so. I really have no idea how she comes up with this, because I try crazy looping all the time and it never ends up working out for me. And we do that all the way until we get to the top. And now we'll do the same thing on the right side. You'll push back those bands, grab the one that would go forward, but instead it pulls way off to the right. And we just continue doing that all the way up. And now the next step is going to be to loop out these zigzag bands here, and we're actually just pulling them back to themselves. So we're going to go into here, grab that band, and pull it back to the pin where it goes. And just continue to bring them back to themselves. And this is probably the only looping step that is actually looped just back to its home post, besides the perimeter, of course. So you will do that all the way up the left side, and then on the right side it will be the same way. You'll go into here, pull it back to itself, go to the next one, pull them back to themselves. So since this is a pretty simple step, I am going to go off screen to finish it up to save a little bit of time in the video. And you will finish that going up both sides, just pulling them from these pins here out to their home posts. So I will be right back in just a moment. Okay, so now we have all of our zigzags looped up, and the next step is going to be to loop out these single bands that are underneath here. And this step is a little bit tricky. We are going to be going into this cap band here. You're going to grab this band, and you're going to pull it all the way over to the perimeter over here. So if you look at these as triangles, so if two of these parts of the zigzag make a triangle, so like the two green bands, then you're always going to be pulling that into the center of the triangle. So now you'll go into your next one, grab it, and carefully pull it to the center of that triangle on the side. Grab the underneath single band and pull it off to the triangle. And you're just continuing that until you've looped all of the single. And now we're going to do that on the right side as well. So go into this pin here, grab the band and pull it to that first triangle. Grab the next one, pull it to the triangle. You just continue this. So this could make your pins kind of come together, so you might want to kind of push down your loom every once in a while so that it doesn't come off the connectors. This does make it kind of tense. A lot of tension on it. Okay, and now the last step is going to be to loop out our zigzags here, but first we have to loop our perimeter over to it so we have kind of a cap band to go from. So you're going to go into this cap band here and loop back our perimeter until we get to where it meets up with the zigzag. So that's as far as we go. Do the same on the right. Just until we get to there. And now these zigzags are looped super cool too. So if you've ever done the swirly twirly bracelet designed by Carolyn, you are probably familiar with this. You're going to push back this top band and grab the first zigzag band. And now if you were going to pull it back to itself, it would be going through here, but we're not going to pull it back to itself, we're going to pull it on a long stretch up. So instead of going to the home post, go to the pin above it. And now go back into here, grab the top one, but since it's going downward, instead of pulling it to the pin where it goes, you're pulling it one pin below it. So again, it has a lot of tension on these bands. Now go back in here to grab the next one out, and since it's going upward, instead of going to its home post, we take it a pin higher. So if it would normally be being looped downward, you're looping it extra downward. So we're just going to continue grabbing them out of this row here and just pulling them an extra step past where they would normally go. So this one would normally come to here, but instead it's going down farther. So this is a little bit tricky, but you'll get the hang of it. And it makes it look really cool on the edge because it's kind of, instead of just looking like a regular zigzag, it makes it kind of, I don't know, it makes it look loopier. It's really cool. And now on this last one, if we were looping it like we looped the others, it would be going a pin higher, but of course there's nowhere to put it, so it's just looping back to itself. And now on the right side, you'll be doing that same thing. You're going to go into this pin, and since it's looping upward, we loop it a pin more upward than it was supposed to go. So that's kind of how I remember it. So if it's looping downward, it loops a step farther. This one's looping upward, so it goes ahead of it. And since this step is pretty difficult, I actually won't go off screen for it, even though it does take a little bit of time. And again, whenever we get to this last one, there's nowhere for it to loop ahead of itself, so it just goes back to its home pin. And now our last step is actually simple. We are going to just be looping out a perimeter. And remember, we already looped it to here, so now we can start in this pin, loop it back, and loop up the left side. So I'll try to keep my hands out of the way, but I have to hold down my loom really good because it kind of wants to pop apart right now. So just be really careful with your bands. If there's a lot of tension, kind of stretch it a little bit before you pull your band through because it could break. I definitely recommend Rainbow Loom brand on this bracelet because they hold up much better than other brands. Rainbow Loom is really the only kind of bands I use because I've tried a lot of other kinds, but I did find one other brand that was really good from Joann's, and I loved it, and I used it a lot, but after a little while, I have bracelets from a few months ago that I made, and they've all started disintegrating, so Rainbow Loom doesn't do that, so I definitely recommend only using that brand. So now we just pull all of them back to themselves until we get to this pin here, and now we'll do the same thing on the right. So go from here, loop it back to itself, and now, let's see, if yours is bowing like mine, just make sure to kind of push it down so the pins don't come popping off the connectors, because that is really frustrating. Oops. And then we loop it to that center pin. And now we can just push back these bands, grab the very bottom band and pull it up. Now hold down your hook, push back all these bands on the other pin, grab the bottom one, and pull it up. So you should now be holding both sides of that. And now we will attach a C-clip. And now that I found my C-clip, we can attach it on there. And you can also add an extension if you didn't do a full wrap. But you can just add it onto there, however many links you want, and then put your clip on. And now you will want to remove it one pin at a time, and very carefully because this has a lot of tension on it. And if you just rip it off, you will break probably most of your bands. So be very careful and remove it with your hook. I am going to finish removing this, and I will be right back with my finished bracelet. Okay, so here it is fresh off the loom, and you'll want to kind of stretch it out a little bit, kind of stretch it this direction and this way, you know, all that good stuff. But here it is on one loom, and of course if you did a full wrap it will look something like this. But I absolutely love this design. I am always astounded by Carolyn's creativity every time I see one of her new designs. So please make sure to follow her at Carolyn Hamlin on Instagram, because she is definitely one of the best designers out there. She's in my top 2, along with, of course, Miss Debbie Lee from Deb's Thing. So please, if you make one, post it on Instagram and tag both me and Carolyn Hamlin. And my Instagram is @Loomaniac, and is spelled just like in my channel name, Loomaniac. And also, on your post, use the hashtag Dahlia Burst Bracelet so that we can see all of them in one place. And also subscribe to my channel. Thanks so much for watching, guys. Bye.